Hey everyone, I'm Charting Man Dan with the Chart Guys, trader and technical analyst. In this video, we're going to check in on the markets after the PPI numbers came in hot. The bulls don't care. We started with some consolidation. It looked like we were going to be pulling back on the daily, but the Nasdaq bulls showed up at a key level. They held it by 1 penny and took back over into the end of the day. CPI coming tomorrow. Let's see where we stand heading into it. So we started the morning with consolidation. It certainly looked like we were getting ready to pull back, and we had some of our major sectors breaking their low of yesterday. XLV, XLF both broke under that low, and we had SPY lose hourly support from the end of yesterday, and that was at 434.29. So for the most part, the first half of the day, bears comfortable. 15-minute downtrend, lower highs, lower lows. All right, consolidation is shaping up. But everything changed before the FOMC minutes came out. And a lot of people are going to look at this and say, oh, well, that's the FOMC minutes reaction. When in reality, the FOMC minutes didn't really have any new information as far as I'm concerned. And what really happened is the Nasdaq held support by 1 penny. Hourly support on the Nasdaq from yesterday was 368.18. And it is not a coincidence that the low of the day held that level by 1 point. You could say the FOMC minutes reaction helped. I wouldn't argue with you there. But we very clearly saw the bulls defend support and then completely take back over and close at the high of the day and push up a bit after hours as well. We closed right at the high of the day. So we have the PPI numbers came in hot. Again, the fundamental bears right now are saying, what in the world is going on? How do we see this strong close when PPI is going up and it's more than we thought? So CPI numbers come out tomorrow, as do the employment numbers. And then financial sector earnings start to end the week. So long story short, aggressive bears getting put in their place and saying, not yet. Some names showed a bit more weakness, but clearly, if the Nasdaq's up at the high, we're not going to pull back. We also had Google and Meta hit new 52-week highs today. Strong close on Google and on Meta. And things shifted for me where, I was fairly confident as a bear that daily consolidation was getting going here. And then I recognized that the Nasdaq held support by 1 penny. And as I'm doing that, I'm looking around at all these other names, these big names, and I'm saying, well, there's no red flags on the Meta hourly chart. There's no red flags on Google, no red flags on the NVDA hourly chart, and no red flags on the Amazon hourly chart. And so as I'm doing that, that in combination with support holding on the Nasdaq had me say, well, wait a minute. I mean, if we're not losing the hourly uptrends, this bounce can keep going. And so that helped me a bit from fighting the bulls at the end of the day. But I did make attempts to short NVDA, which failed. We'll look at that in just a moment. Wanted to position for a swing position, but we closed much too strong for me to want to swing it. And so SMH closed at the high of the day as well. Again, just a complete turnaround from a double top at the high of the day and weakness into a hold of hourly support by pennies and a V-shaped recovery back to the high of the day. And so for me, NVDA, I made an aggressive attempt first thing on the morning for a short and stopped out of that. And then I made a re-entry attempt on the 2-minute lower high, covered some when the low of the day held, watched this 2-minute rising wedge, played that a little bit. So I was doing a lot of day trading, little scalp flips, locking in 75 cents, $1.30 on moves and just trying to keep a cost basis for a position that I could swing. But then the end of the day move, keeping the hourly uptrend strong. Nope, not swinging that short. So NVDA bulls keeping their control. There was also a good bit of relative strength in the afternoon for NVDA. And we did clear this resistance zone at 466. So we're now getting to a point in terms of retracement size where even if we do set the weekly lower high, it's possible that we just tighten up on the weekly with an equilibrium. So bulls keeping their complete control. And again, a lot of these names still have hourly uptrends as our guide. Some names don't, but big NASDAQ names do. NEE and the utilities kept strong all day. They never had any kind of turnaround. I exited the rest of my NEE swing today. some on the gap up open at 52, and then the rest in the 53s into the afternoon. Reason for exiting: number one, the bounce is 12 or 13% at this point off the low. Number two, utilities sector XLU is hitting 4-hour overbought conditions, which is technically a reverse back burner. And so just locking in those gains and patiently waiting for daily consolidation to see if I want to reload. And we've got 53.95 resistance on NEE in play tomorrow. And again, just another name with the hourly uptrend as a guide. Anything above the low of today will be an hourly higher low tomorrow. And so we'll keep those hourly higher lows intact. One more note, S&P 500 and the Nasdaq futures. Earlier this week, I was talking about the 4-hour EMA 12 being a guide. That was another factor that had me shift mindset a bit after a morning attempt to go in bearish, saying, nope, not ready yet. Bounced right off 4-hour EMA 12 again on both the Nasdaq and the S&P 500, back up to the high. So again, simple statement, bulls have complete control as long as the 4-hour EMA 12 is support on these futures charts. And again, it's, at this point, you see the size of the bounce on the Nasdaq. To get back to the high of the year on the Nasdaq, we need 4.25%, and we are currently 5.5% above where we just came from. So just like that, we're closer to resistance than we are to support. Tesla, daily inside bar. So the names that failed to break the highs of yesterday had clear relative weakness. And we could see Tesla dropping on the 15-minute, and again, bounced in the end of the day as well, but nowhere near the bounce that we saw on the Nasdaq. I mean, if we bounce the same as the Nasdaq, we'd be up here. So just compare Tesla to all these other names, Amazon, Meta, Google, all these Nasdaq names that recovered all the way back to the high of the day, and Tesla did not come close to that. So Tesla is now an hourly tightening range. No, I take that back. We're in an hourly downtrend. It confirmed. Fail the high of yesterday, break hourly support, and now we're looking for an hourly lower high. Anything under, I would say anything under the high of today. If the inside bar breaks bear, daily consolidation underway, and we'll then be looking to support of 250.65. But clear relative weakness in Tesla comparatively. Cannabis stock still real weak. MSOS, I needed 745 plus for the bulls to prove anything. They didn't. It's a potential daily bear flag. And again, it's just the continued slow fade on a headline-dependent sector that does not have any headlines looming at the moment. And so, bears still remaining confident in this sector. Healthcare, as I mentioned, broke the low of yesterday only by a couple pennies. Pretty much a double bottom, five pennies there. But there's space for an hourly lower high. Well, take that back. We did. It's an attempt at an hourly bear flag midday, and the bulls defended against that confirming. So you can treat that. Oftentimes I make my own rules as a technical analyst. And is this an inside bar? Technically, no. If I were to say that's an inside bar, I'm incorrect. Can I treat it as if it's an inside bar because the break was 5 pennies? Absolutely. And so that's what I do. XLV, as far as I'm concerned, is an inside bar. If it breaks bear, the daily consolidation is underway. And if it doesn't, then the bulls prolong the bounce. Financial sector broke that low of yesterday by 5 pennies, filled a gap at 33.13. So technically the daily consolidation is underway, but again, no follow through. It's pretty impressive to see the bulls this aggressively buy the first tiny dip after this bounce. And again, the CPI tomorrow is going to dictate whether, we head right back down towards the lows of today to try and see consolidation begin, or whether we get another leg up and continue to shape up the possibility of these monthly bull flags on SPY and QQQ. IWM broke the high of yesterday just barely. So again, very similar to an inside bar, but bulls fending off consolidation at this point. Looks like after hours, the markets are up a decent bit. Bulls keeping that momentum for now. ARKK had clear relative weakness. Similar, I mean, Tesla is one of the largest holdings in ARKK, if not the largest. I haven't looked in a while, but a daily inside bar. And not surprising that they were both relatively weaker. AI, again, still in my swing position, small gap up open, watching for daily consolidation to see if the bulls can confirm a daily uptrend. The dollar, still 4-hour downtrend and EMA 12 resistance, keeping the bears in complete control. We will zoom out and look for a daily lower high eventually, but we're not going to get a daily bounce going as long as the 4-hour downtrend and lower highs remain. Oil bear break, inside bar bear break. That was at 85.12. Nice follow through of multiple percent. Gap fill, 83.28. Very quickly filled. So this was a good one as far as 4-hour uptrend being lost and then straight to the gap fill. And so now the question is, can the bulls form the daily high or low and confirm an uptrend? It's already more retracement than the bulls want to see. And the energy sector pretty much just does what oil does as far as relative strength and relative weakness. But it's going to try and shape up a daily uptrend as well. And natural gas, very aggressive dip buying. We hit first hourly oversold conditions. It's the way I like to see bounces shape up, with first hourly oversold, but the 5-minute and the 15-minute were crushed. The RSI was in the teens. That's my ideal scenario. When I'm playing an oversold bounce, I want all the time frames that are shorter than the time frame that I'm playing off of to be at extremes. And so we V-shaped bounce here, and retracement size very significant. If we form a lower high, we're going to look for a higher low in a tightening range. But bounce retracement size at this point, 70, 75%. And in terms of the percentage bounce, a very nice, almost 6%. So bulls would love to see first hourly oversold mark the daily high or low. That would be a character trait of a strong uptrend. So overall, took some small losses, acceptable losses on an NVDA bearish attempt. Took some profit on NEE. And other than that, patiently waiting to see what the CPI reaction is tomorrow, knowing that the burden is on the bears in the short term to prove to us that daily consolidation is underway. And after the full-on display from the Nasdaq and semiconductors holding hourly support by pennies, for me, you wonder why I talk about the Nasdaq all the time. You know, in our chat room, my QQQ posts far exceed talking about anything else. It used to be the S&P 500. Back in my earlier days, it was all focused on the S&P 500, but more and more it's becoming clear to me that the Nasdaq leads the market in both directions. And you could say that has to do with the weight of these magnificent 7 names and all that. But it matters more to me than anything else that I watch in terms of an ETF to be looking at for correlations. And bulls won today. We'll see how long they can keep winning. I don't have any content for the end of the day here, so some life tips. Do good things. Don't get caught up in things that don't impact you in any way. Help others. We already know that message. Say yes to experiences while you have the opportunity to experience them. And we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day.